If you're interested in comic book conservation, please join us on Facebook at the Comic Book Conservation Community, where we have a gathering of experts in the industry, and you can ask all of your questions that you need to know about what you need to do to conserve and preserve these beautiful works of art. We have a treat today. So, I just acquired this. This is a Batman number 13 from 1942. It's got a nice war cover with a parachute and Robin, and very cool book. It has a few issues. So let's take a look at this. So first of all, it looks like we have some rodent chews or something chewed up this upper corner that has to be rebuilt. A little bit of a mark here. This is actually a wormhole, so I tipped that up so you guys could see that. Worms do like these things. They are wood. So the edges look pretty good. We do have another wormhole down here. And the back cover, it's typical dirty cover. This is an 80-year-old book. I mean, we've got some spotting down here along the bottom. All in all, this is a really pretty book. It has so much potential. And staples are still attached. A little bit of rust marks here. So we'll work with that. So I think what we could do is leaf cast a new top to the spine, and we'll check out the wraps individually. So let's open this up. I'm going to be very careful here. So as you can see right down here, October, November 1942. Nice wartime book. So it does have the typical tanning. And here we've got our big notch out of here. The staples are still attached, but barely. The colors look, pretty nice. The camera's making them a little bit wider than they are, but it's your typical golden age tan book. I mean, what a cool book. I mean, it features a Joker. It's held together very, very well. The fact that it's the cover's still attached. I'm quickly working my way over to the center wrap. I want to take a look at that. So the staples are great. They're actually shiny. We do have some rust, like down here. So we'll have to take care of the rust from those staples. Get rid of that. Let's take a look at the outside the staple here. It doesn't appear that they've been replaced. Let's see if we can get the camera to focus. There we go. That one looks pretty good. As does that one. That one's still showing a little bit of rust. Let's see. Come on, camera. There we go. Sorry, people. I'm using a Logitech camera, trying to get some up close stuff, and it's hard. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I would say that's most definitely the original staple. It's nice and shiny inside, but you can see how the rust has migrated. And this one, yeah, I have no reason to believe these aren't the original staples. So we'll go ahead and get those out. We'll take care of the rust in the book. And we don't want that. We'll do some leaf casting to... Basically, we're going to have to leaf cast every single one of these wraps and the cover as well. We'll find a nice white that matches once we get it all cleaned up. But back at the inside, everything looks great. This is an amazing book. All right, so here's our new project we're going to work on, and we'll do several chapters. This one is quite an expensive book, so let's take a look at the Go Collect and see what they say about this book. This book would grade out if we put it in for a submission for a raw, probably a 1.0 because the cover is partially detached and plus all the animal chews and things like that. But I would plate this book at someplace between a 1.0 and a 1.5, so I went on the lower side. And even at that, the Go Collect algorithm places it at $475 for a fair market value. However, there was one sale during the year for $785 for a 1.0. This wasn't necessarily an outlier. There's just not a lot of copies of this book moving right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and pry these up a little bit. Now I'm going to slide this over the top here. This will help keep the staple straight while we pry on it. And we want to get it somewhat, you people have watched me take the staples out before. And I try to keep everything flat, but I also don't put these staples up at a 90-degree angle. And the reason being is I reinsert them at a 90-degree profile, and that way we don't tear up the paper. So we're going to go ahead and put my hand on the back side here, and as you know how I do it, I push through one side and I bring up the other side like this to remove the staple. The staple will be reinserted the same way, but we didn't tear anything up. We didn't make any holes bigger. We will have to do some hole repairs on these, on the ones that we had the rust on. But as you can see here, this staple looks pretty good. Let's see how close I can get this to the camera. Actually, do it this way. So we got a little bit of rust across the top. And again, the sides. And I did pay attention to which side of the staple it came out. The shorter side was on the top, which is this is the shorter side, and the longer side is here. This is on the bottom. So we'll keep the orientation correct like this. I'm going to go ahead and put this underneath a piece of tape, which I have right over here. So this was the top staple. So I'll put this under here under T. And now we're going to work on the bottom staple, which is one I was a little bit more concerned with because of the rust that's involved. And I can already feel the cover is loose right now, so hopefully it won't be a huge issue. So yeah, I could see a lot of the paper is deteriorated. Due to the rust, you can see this big dark spot right there. I'll hold it up here in a minute. So what I don't want to do is over pry this and snap the staple off. That would be, well, that'd be bad. And for those of you worried about what I'm doing to the staple holes, yes, there is some paper coming up here. However, the fact that we're going to do leaf casting with the wormholes over here, each wrap is going to get leaf casted to do that repair. We will also leaf cast new paper into these holes. So once it's all said and done, we're actually going to have to poke new holes for the staples. But this book should look beautiful when it's done. Okay, so we're a little bit more centered here. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to hold this up so you can see it. I'm just going to push gently on one side. I don't want to tear this cover. So I can feel that with my fingers. I'll just go ahead and push this one up through here. Now, like I said, this is the rusty staple, so we're going to be nice and gentle, roll it out and all the way through. Okay, so let's take a quick look at this staple. And sure enough, as you can see, It's got quite a bit of rust on it. We'll go ahead and, like I said, I want to go ahead and do some probably some electrolysis treatment on this, and we'll just when you do that, you're running electricity through it. We're discharging the ions off of the staple itself, so the iron oxide that's deposited there will come off and leave just the original staple underneath. That way we don't lose any patina or anything like that. But we'll be very careful. We don't want to sand this or shine it, but we do want to reuse it. So with this, we'll put that underneath the B. Okay, so now the book is completely free of staples. I'm going to go ahead and take this these two staples that are on our nice blue tape, and I'm going to put these on the back side of a backer board, and this will stay there until we are ready for reassembly, or in this case we're going to do the electrolysis treatment on the staples. So we'll set that aside for right now. I'll bring our book back in here, big picture. And let's go ahead and retract this camera a bit so we can get a better view. There we go. All right, so let's take this set of wraps away from the cover. So what I want to look for, and there isn't, is I look for glue. So there's no signs that the of taping or gluing. So this is all original, folks. You can see the up here to the looks like a rodent chewing or whatever it was that got to it. We'll separate all these wraps. Now we are going to de-acidify everything, just like we normally do. So they'll go through the blue light chamber again. So we'll measure all of these wraps because I want to maintain their distance. So we'll take a firm measurement. I've got my handy dandy ruler here, and we don't want any shrinkage. So we'll double check all the sizes. This will be basically treated the way we normally treat the rest of the wraps. So let me set these aside and let's take a look at this. So what we have here is a heavily stained cover. It is split, as you can see through here. The bottom staple, it's completely gone, actually. I thought it was still attached, and I was incorrect. There is no pieces here that came out. Top staple was completely pulled through as well. Let's pick this up and we'll hold it a little bit closer to the camera so you can get a good close-up view. And you can see there's still a little bit of meat there that was underneath the staple. This one, however, no dice. On the outside, let's take a look. Again, we still have the paper there. We can straighten that out. We'll have to get the rust off of it, of course. And then we'll have to rebuild this. I'll find, once we get the cover cleaned, we'll go ahead and find some matching tone for the leaf casting. So we'll leaf cast the two staple holes. We'll leaf cast this spine split back together. Around the edges, as you can see here, there are a couple of just tear marks, things like that. So, but this is a nice, sturdy golden age cover. So I think it's going to be really easy to work with. So we just have a few things to address with it. We do have this pencil mark here. I did check it against any pedigrees, which I suggest everybody do. You can go to the CGC website and you could look up pedigrees, and you can see all the listed and accepted pedigrees and see if there's a signature or something that's actually listed. You don't want to remove it. So am I going to go to a lot of effort to remove it? No. I'm just going to go ahead and run the sandpaper bag over it. We do have some spots here. I will dry clean the white areas. These spots hopefully will come loose or at least be lightened a bit. We do have some foxing down here across the bottom of the back page. But all in all, it's a nice thick book. We want to go ahead and maintain that. So, all right, let's get started on this. All right, new project. And if you haven't tuned in to our live show yet, Dr. Paul from Liberty Hill Comics, Phantom Phil from Phantom Restorations, and myself, we have a live chat. We take your questions. We answer as many as we possibly can. And we try to choose interesting topics for the evening to talk about regarding comic conservation, preservation, and restoration. So please join us. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching.